leadership and trust. Leadership is something that we need if we want to progress. And not just leadership, sincere, responsive, and good leadership. But there's something that is unique in leadership. It is trust. But before we discuss that, let us pick the messages which we have received. But we want to thank those of you that have been sending messages to us. We have received hundreds of messages, text messages, WhatsApp. We thank you for that. Those your encouraging word, we appreciate what you have been doing, and we thank you for the way you have been doing it. Today I will start with Arinze. Arinze said, greetings to Imam and Pastor. He said, this is the best program I have watched in NTA this year. He said his name is Arinze. Another one writes, I listened to your program on NTA today, Sunday. The moderator, you highly excellent. Even the pastor and the imam. It's a program everyone needs not to miss. God bless you all. Another man wrote, he said, Prince Okoli from Abuja, I am a Christian and must confess that this program is therapeutic as it portrays faith in action. Shalom. God bless our imam and pastor in the studio. This man writes, good evening, sirs. My name is Pastor Adenigbagbe Paul from Port Harcourt. You are really doing a very good work here. Please, I suggest that our religious leaders, both in mosques and churches, we play the video of this program to their followers. Once more, well done to you all over there. I think they are greeting you all. This man said, I never watched NTA for 1 minute, but this program I have to watch to the end. I am Adamu Isa from Yola, Adamawa State. Say, God bless you all. This one says, good evening, sir. This question is for my pastor. What is welfare offering? My name is Osakwe Festus from Benin City. Do you get the question?
I got it, sir.
Please, do you want to react to that?
I can quickly refer.
Okay.
Osakwe, thank you very much. Well, welfare offering by its name, it's talking about an offering or a collection that is taken to take care or do welfare for those who are in need, either for those who are poor, either to pay for school fees, either to help in accommodation. So by the name is welfare. Welfare is to take care of. And I believe the church is doing that because they want to ensure that there is a particular fund devoted towards that. That is just the simple
meaning of
welfare
offering. Yeah. Okay, I think this one is a woman. I say idiot from Lagos. Sadaka, it is trying to say, because we discuss charity and charity from both religion, and we look at tithe and sadaka and zakat. This woman said, idiot from Lagos, sadaka is voluntary, not mandatory on mankind, but why zakat is mainly compulsory on those who are rich and can afford to give others without being in debt, not the perspective most of Islam leaders gives to it now. So it's not every human being who are entitled to give zakat. Do you want to?
As she has rightly differentiated between the two, sadaqah is voluntary while zakat is compulsory, which zakat, being compulsory, it must fulfill certain conditions, it must reach certain amount, and then must have been with one for a whole year.
Okay.
It is after that now you give out 2.5% of that amount, you give it out in appreciation to the Creator who has given you that as a custodian, because you are just a mere custodian of that wealth. So zakat is compulsory, which is annually given out, and it must not be necessarily be monetary. Zakat could be out of the farm produce, also animals like camel, cow, sheep and goats. Okay. When they reach certain number, then you give out one as mandated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You are saying giving, who takes it?
Yes, they need this.
I want to even ask the pastor too.
They need this.
Who are the needies? And who are those that are entitled to take this charity, either the tithe or the zakat?
Yes, when it comes to the issue of zakat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not leave us just like that. He identified 8 categories of individuals who are entitled to take or to be given this zakat that one had given out. In Surah 9, I can't remember the number.
60, verse 60.
Verse 60, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala identified those 8 categories of people. And he started by saying, للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل. This 8
Tell us now, you are speaking Greek.
Number 1 of them is one who is poor. One who is a needy.
Okay.
The scholars now decided to give a difference between who is poor and who is a needy. Somebody who is poor is a person who can afford what he could keep to maintain himself for a day, while the needy is one who cannot even afford that. He must go out to get his means of livelihood every day. I don't know whether you are getting my difference. The explanation. Then وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا, also those who are in charge of collecting this zakat, even if they are rich, for them to be contented, they should not be left out of taking something out of what had been collected. Because by the time you didn't give them anything, they are human.
Just go ahead.
There could be temptations. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself did not leave them just like
what the government is doing now. Those who are in charge of collecting salary, they have a special salary that has been given to them. If you are the one in charge of money, so that you won't be able to be split. Yes.
Those that are collecting tax, or those that are working in the financial institutions, so that they could not be tempted to dip in their hands into the treasury.
Okay. Pastor, collect
those who get it. Well, the poor, the needy, the widows is there in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 5.
Good.
And it distinguishes between some widows. He said the widows that are really in need, especially the ones that are aged, and those who are young can still marry. So then also in the book of Matthew chapter 25, it talks about I was sick and you visited me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was in prison and you visited me. So the needy, the welfare can be shown to families of prisoners who maybe because the father is in prison, there's no way they can take care of. Widows, those who are sick in hospital, those who are in the streets.
Those are the people that the tithe should go to.
Well, not the tithe, the welfare. But for tithe, according to the Bible, in Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, it says, bring ye all the tithe into my storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. The word meat there is saying that there will be resources in my house. The main reason for tithe is just to ensure that the running of the temple of God, the church, is maintained. In the olden days, they used to do a lot of sacrifice, Old Testament. So when they bring the tithe, like it's talking about, you bring your cow, you bring your ram, they do sacrifices every time. Abraham offered sacrifice.
Definitely.
The program is
Abrahamic
mission. So they sacrifice, the priest offers sacrifice morning, evening. So what they bring is what the priest use to offer the sacrifice. But in this time, we use money, ego, kudi, so the money has to pay electricity bills. There are people that clean the church, water bill, so it goes into that. It also pays certain things. Now you have to do signboard, you have to pay a municipal AMAC. So all those are what the tithe is used for.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, that is not the topic we are discussing. I just want clarification. This one says, this program is inspiring thanks to the participants and anchor. I'm a philosopher, diplomat, and journalist by training. My question is, what are the implications of the pretense that only 2 religions exist in Nigeria? I think nobody is pretending there are only 2 religions in Nigeria. What we are saying, this program, we call it Abrahamic. So it is a religion that follows the teachings of Abraham. And that is why the word Abrahamic comes in. it is not about all even the Abrahamic, but the two main one in our country. Incidentally, to be sincere with ourselves, we have been having challenges with those two, and we discovered the challenges we are facing from those two religions. I mean, Islam and Christianity in Nigeria is because of lack of education, and that is the essence of this program, to educate ourselves, for us to be able to understand ourselves. Even just ordinary in charity now, we have seen relevant, we have seen almost the same thing. We have seen corroboration, we have seen that we're actually almost doing the same thing, but in different way and in different name. So perhaps if we are educated and we see ourselves, we know ourselves, we'll be able to appreciate ourselves the more. So we are not pretending that there are two religions. We know there are traditional religionists. We know there are Jews who are somewhere. We know there are Ekanka. We know there are so many religious groups. But those ones, let me praise them, they are peaceful. They have never given us any problem in this country. And that is why we only focus on Abrahamic religion. And that is why we have Islam and Christianity. We are not pretending, neither are we saying those ones are not existing. They actually exist, and the culture recognizes them. So we can never, and we are not saying they are not there. So thank you. Now we'll go on a very short break now, before we now come back to discuss our main topic of the day.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Joining us, this is Abrahamic Mission on NTA. The essence and the main reason for Abrahamic Mission is for us to understand ourselves, to appreciate ourselves, to know what we do and why we do them from the two religions. Like we always say, the essence is not for us to compare and contrast. The essence is not to see which one is better, but it's for us to know this is the way this one is being done. And these are the reasons why it is being done. Not for us to think that, hey, my own is better or his own is good. It is not like that. But for when we know ourselves, we'll be able to appreciate ourselves. Today, we'll be discussing leadership and trust. We know that the position of leadership is a position that God himself has hand in. Position of leadership, it is something that can determine all the resources God has given to a particular group of people. If it is not well maintained, the meaning is that everything is a waste. If it is well maintained, it means everybody will enjoy. But let us look at it. What is leadership itself? Pastor,
Thank you very much. Before I even define leadership, you mentioned something which is very important. You talk about it. Leadership is what God ordains, God directs. And that is very much supported in the Bible. In Romans chapter 13, verse 1, it says, let every soul, talking about everybody, be subject to the higher powers. Higher powers is referring to those who are in government. He says, for those who are in power are ordained by God. And nobody comes to power unless God allows him.
Exactly.
If God does not allow you, can try from now till next year. You will not. So what does it mean to be leadership? Leadership, the definition, so that we define very well.
Take your time. Feel free.
Is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. So that is leadership. The action of leading a group of people or an organization. So you have the leadership of CAN, Christian Association. They are leading Christians. You have also the counterpart in Islam. Yeah. You have now the leadership of the nation. We, in our own case, we have 3 arms of government. We have the executive, we have the president, vice president, and ministers. Then we have the legislature, where we have the National Assembly. You know, there is the federal legislature, there is the state legislature. Then we also have leadership of states. We have the governor. The governor is a replica of the president, you know, but in a miniature form in the state. And so that is leadership with respect to the Nigerian particular setup, you know. But there is leadership in other areas too. We are leaders in the church. He's a leader in the mosque. It's like a vice president because it says deputy imam. And so you'll be like president because you're imam. So, but then we also have traditional leadership. Yeah. So leadership again is the act of leading, the action of leading people or leading an organization. I can stop at that.
Yes.
Okay, Imam, what is leadership?
I'm very, very glad and happy that what my pastor have been saying, as if he's even quoting directly from the Noble Quran.
Oh, this is wonderful.
That the giver of authority is the creator. Allah the Most High said in Surah Al-Imran, I can give the verse, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِي الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ. Allah is the giver of authority, that is of leadership. And he gives it to whom he wishes and decide to take it from whom he wishes. So for anybody to assume to be a leader must have the endorsement from the creator. You can't just be there like that. And then leadership in various forms. As far as Islam is concerned, there is no way we can live and just live as if we are in the world of animals. Whereas even in the world of animals, you could see that they do have leader. When you see cows moving,
exactly,
you must see one that is spearheading the others that are
even animals do have leaders.
Even in the world of animals, they do have leaders.
Yeah.
Talk more of we human beings. Now, when it comes to the issue of leadership, leadership is a responsibility which shouldn't just be everybody that you just say, no, give me this, give me that, give me this. It must be something that is accompanied with confidence, with trust, with some level of reliability by the followers. They should have confidence in the leadership. As my pastor have said, in the Nigerian context, at the federal level, we have 3 arms of government. We have executive, legislature, and the judiciary. Whereas in the judiciary, each is having their own headship, of which the headship is responsible for that arm. Whereas as a country, the leader of this country is the president, whom whether we like it or not, we can't have 2 presidents at a time. It must always be one at a time. Not minding how he assumed, how he came into power, but we must always just have one at a time. And this one that is coming at a time, how do we rally round to see that he succeeds?
Okay.
So as we are having leaders, even the followers could contribute to the success.
We also get there.
No.
You know, leadership is directly related with trust.
No.
Like Pastor and you too have said, and this leadership cut across every strata. From home is about trust. A man is the head in his house. Even the wife also has a department, which is the most important area in the family. Even the children, the firstborn, the one that is taking care of something, is also leadership. Now, if you look at this leadership, it involves one delicate something, that is trust. Because for people to say, okay, we have accepted your leadership, it means they have trusted him to a certain level. What is that trust? Because it really bothers one that, do we actually understand the concept of leadership minus trust? Pastor, do you...
Thank you very much. And it's important to acknowledge the fact that, as Imam has said, there's a responsibility from the leader. And the definition of trust is a firm belief in the reliability. He mentioned that you trust, you believe that this person is reliable. But what brings trust, first of all, like he said, is because we can't all lead. Because if we all lead, there will be confusion. Definitely. It's like somebody having two heads. One will say he wants to come to Abrahamic mission. The other will say he wants to sleep at home. There will be problem.
I hope Pastor was not thinking like that when he left home.
No. So we realize that we can't all lead. So because of that, we say it is important. We agree and say somebody should lead. Mm-hmm. Then we will follow. That is the beginning of leadership, because we know we cannot all lead. It will become confusion. Mm-hmm. Jesus said 2 masters cannot be in a boat. There will be problem. Now, that trust is something that is very delicate, as you have mentioned. It is something that needs to be maintained. The decision to elect a leader, the president, governors, is because we look and say, between Imam Fuad and Imam, this man can lead us. So people voted, and so he has more vote. But that trust has to be built upon. That's why you talk about the fact that the followers must help the leader. So if the leader continue to do things, they say, oh yes, this is what we trust Imam Fuad to do. The trust will begin to increase. Because once the trust is broken, even if it's married, trust is very difficult to rebuild. It's easier to, break a trust than to reestablish it. Exactly. So it's important that, the leaders continue to ensure that the trust that is reposed in them by people, is done. And let me just quote this so that maybe...
Pastor, I told you, feel free. Don't rush. Whatever you want to tell us,
there's a scripture that can enable that trust to be built. Mm-hmm. The Bible says in 2 Samuel 23:2, it says, the Spirit of the Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue. The God of Israel said, the rock of Israel spake to me. Anyone that rule over men must rule in the fear of God. That fear of God, when the fear of God guides you as a leader, you will do things that will be just. And because any form of injustice, you remember the Arab Spring. You remember because people felt things are unjust. That's why that man in Tunisia set himself ablaze, and the thing went all over. Once you have the fear of God, you will decide do what is just. When you do what is just, what happens to your followers? They put more trust in you. They can even die for you. I was in Ghana for a long time, and one of the former leaders, I don't want to mention him, he was a military leader, he ruled for long, you will know. I was told that 1/3 of the country, or almost half, are ready to lay down their life for that man.
There is a president now. I was in a country called Oman. I met a professor of economics. I went for a training, and he said, I can lay my land for our king. I said, you a professor, but I will allow Imam to talk about it. Before I told you what they said the man used to do, that everybody can die for him. Imam, really? What is trust?
Trust is a burden. Trust is what brings about stability in any given society. Once trust is lacking, the entire system is bound to fall in chaos and crisis. From the Islamic point of view, as my elder brother and pastor have said, I used to say my elder brother and pastor because one who is in the presidency, as the number one house in the country, we must have to give that respect. When we talk of trust from the Islamic point of view, the enormity of that word is what many of our leaders are ignorant of. Allah the Most High, when he was telling us about trust in Quran 33 verse 72, Surah Al-Ahzab, he was saying this trust, amana, because it's amana in Arabic, was offered to the heavens and the earth and even on the mountains. But they all declined.
They don't want the trust. They can't bear it.
They can't bear it because of the enormity of the burden involved. But it's only man now that shouldered to take up the responsibility of the trust. So, looking at this, it's not just everybody you handpick to entrust your properties, your lives into his hand. And as the pastor has said, in Quran 2 verse 283, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was discussing about people who are on travel. Who are on a journey.
Okay.
And then maybe something happened that they have to borrow money from one another.
Okay.
They want to borrow money
from each other.
It's a trust where you don't have a secretary to put it into writing. Okay, please, I am entrusting this into your hand. فَإِنْ أَمِنَ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا فَلْيُؤَدِّ الَّذِي اؤْتُمِنَ أَمَانَتَهُ وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ. The point I want to make here is...
I want you to translate that.
I will. The point I'm trying to make here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, when you are on a journey and the one of you is compelled to take a loan from his own brother, and out of trust, he now decided to give you that thing without even being recorded, then you that have collected this out of trust, at the end of the day, you should render back that which you have collected from him. Then be fearful. You should be afraid of Allah the Most High. So,
is that the meaning of the verse you just read?
Yes.
Okay.
The fear of Allah in whatever we